sex ring kingpin Gerhard Ackerman was revoked, the judge explicitly stating that he wants him to remain in jail, but this will be under suicide watch. You would recall that some of the witness statements that were read inside this court indicated that Gerhard Ackerman at some point wanted to purchase a gun to kill himself, and he also wanted to flee to Cape Town. Also, the statements indicating at some point he wanted to travel in a truck to Botswana to evade this trial because he believed the trial that he was going to sit in would not be fair. So the judge saying basically he wanted to weigh up all the conditions on the basis that you would recall also there had been questions raised about how Gerhard Ackerman's bail conditions had been amended. You would know that he appeared in court in October and December of last year, but after the matter had been transferred here to the High Court, he had gone back to the Magistrates Court to have his bail conditions amended or relaxed, and that was granted. And as per the agreement of the state as well as the defence, that was unprocedurally or unlawfully done. That was not supposed to happen, in that once this matter had been transferred to the High Court, the Magistrates Court did not have any jurisdiction to hear an application on the amendment of the bail conditions of Gerhard Ackerman. The judge was quite appalled by what had taken place, but said while he needed to take into account that a learned person, in this instance the magistrate who had granted the relaxation of Gerhard Ackerman's bail conditions, what he also needed to take into account was whether it was his fault. He had obviously approached a lawyer, and this was handed down by a magistrate, a learned person. So the blame could not be put on Gerhard Ackerman, in that he was a layman and essentially had hired a lawyer in order to get his bail conditions amended or relaxed in this particular instance. But the judge also explicitly saying in this particular instance that, he's quite shocked by the manner in which this was picked up, because we only picked this up when Gerhard Ackerman had taken the stand about 2 days ago, when he had to explain to this court why he did not pitch last Thursday. You would recall, after he did not pitch at this court last Thursday, there was an application brought before this court on Saturday to have his bail conditions or to have his bail revoked, and then he had been arrested in Florida, west of Johannesburg, and then appeared in court on Monday. It was only picked up on Monday when he had taken the stand that he told this court his bail conditions had been amended. That is why on the day that he was scheduled to appear before a court, he did not do that, claiming that he was sick. He said he had suspected food poisoning, but instead had gone to Pretoria to move in on a friend's premises. The judge also, in handing down the ruling in the revoking of that bail, saying that he found it quite shocking that on the day that Gerhard Ackerman was supposedly sick with food poisoning, he did not immediately go to a doctor and instead had gone to consult the following day, but saw it prudent instead to go and remove his property from where he was staying to Pretoria to move in with a friend. Also, just before the lunch break, the father of one of the alleged victims, a 16-year-old boy, took the stand, describing how his son had been lured from the Free State to Johannesburg under the pretext that he would become a masseuse in Johannesburg. The father says that his son had met someone by the name of Gerry via Facebook, who had been advertising that he would create a better life for young people. They would become, a masseuse in Johannesburg. The father says that at first he was very against his son coming here to Johannesburg, but he felt a little bit comfortable only after he had spoken to this man called Gerry on the telephone, and he was assured that there was no sexual movements that would be done during these so-called massages that his son would be performing. But he says after some time on a Friday, he received a telephone call from a detective who told him that he was bringing his son back to Harrismith and he should fetch his son there, and it was in the car when his son started crying and started apologizing to him, saying that he was sorry, he didn't mean to, and at a later stage then found out that it was at this particular place where his son was then, during these massages, either asked to perform, sexual movements on these clients. The clients were also would touch him on his private parts, and essentially there was a lot of, sexual movement that had taken place while these massages, were being told to be performed on these clients. So what's expected to take place now in cross-examination, that is also done in Zinga. From tomorrow, this matter will sit in the High Court sitting in Palm Ridge, and it's going to be held in camera because this 16-year-old boy will take the stand tomorrow. The public is not allowed in that sitting. The media is not allowed in that sitting. It is only going to be the presiding officers, which would include, of course, the state, the defense, and the judge in that particular instance, and the 16-year-old boy, of course, who will take the stand. And we understand these are very graphic details of what is expected to be heard inside that court tomorrow.